been a radical spike in people either dressed as clown or wearing clown masks, holding up everything from banks to convenience stores to everything in between. The National Clown Association, and there is such a thing, is outraged at what's happening because, Angie, for years, of course, they lived quite peacefully. Now, I don't know why this trend is happening, but certainly, and I read a great story yesterday, the history of quote unquote scary clowns. But this has been going on for many, many decades, dating back to the 1700s. And so this is not a new phenomenon. I think it's just getting a lot more attention. And of course, when something gets more attention, what happens? More people do it.
Well, and, John was saying he had a creepy clown incident in his neck of the woods. But, clowns did go green long before we did because, they always come in one car. Sorry, I was terrible. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay, so let's move on from the creepy clowns. By the way, my school district even sent out in the email saying, yes, we have had creepy clown threats, but please don't repeat these because you make it worse by repeating them. So I think that's kind of what's happening around the country is that somebody and people think it's fun, like, oh, this is fun.
Of them were dealing. And of course, in a lot of states, we have mandatory minimum sentences for these kinds of things. A, it's expensive to the taxpayers. B, it ruins a life. There's an organization out there called LEAP, which is Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. And one of the things, and Angie, I would really encourage you to have somebody from LEAP on the show, because one of the things they focus on is the lives they ruin for minor drug offenses. Those things stay on your record. And, listen, I think that when we especially talk about marijuana, as you well know, because of where you live, it's become much more socially acceptable. And oddly enough, it's the baby boomers who is the biggest group of people that use marijuana. So the president did this yesterday. Obviously, I don't think there's a big controversy about it. And before we go any further, I want to say my prayers are with all the people that have been in the path or are in the path of Hurricane Matthew. And that's pushed a lot of news to the side.
Yes.
And maybe it pushed this story to the side as well. But I think our focus and our prayers need to be with all those people.
I completely agree. Now, I'm a big supporter of medical marijuana. I don't think we should be wasting our time with a lot of petty, going after people who have small amounts of marijuana who aren't dealing and putting them in prison. I think that's a complete waste of time. I'm not sure how I feel about the boom of marijuana in my state, but I do have several friends and people that I know with cancer, kids with seizures who are benefiting from the medical aspects of it. But I'm not a real fan of everybody just walking in and having a good time. But you're right, a lot of baby boomers involved in this. All right, I don't know if we're going to have time now. My good news story involves Christopher Duffley. I've interviewed him. He was born blind with autism, but that hasn't stopped him from inspiring the world with his voice. Here's his mom, Christine, who was his aunt who adopted him.
Christopher came to us under special circumstances. I knew that my brother was expecting a baby with his girlfriend, and Christopher was born prematurely at 26 weeks, 1 pound, 12 ounces.
Her brother was involved in drugs. Christopher was in bad shape. And then here's the update. She did do the right thing and adopt him, and he loves music.
Music brings joy to people. And singing is a gift that I share. Because I'm blind, I see people with my heart for who they truly are instead of what they look like on the outside. Hello everyone, Christopher Duffley here from Manchester, New Hampshire, and I'm an inspirational singer and podcaster. Joining me in the studio today is my co-host and great mom, Christine Duffley.
I believe Christopher is a gift. He's a young boy with a mission. Music's been part of his life since the beginning.
I think it's difficult to imagine how many people he impacts. He is helping me to achieve and understand what life is about.
I don't know how you package up inspiration and put it in a can or whatever, but somehow he's able to embody that, and he touches people's hearts.
All right, so here's the deal. I wish we had it. What just gives you the chills is his song that went viral. They were on a missions trip, and this little boy couldn't even speak yet, and he started singing word for word, "Open the eyes of my heart, Lord." And then that song went viral, and then he became famous because of that. He obviously has a gift, and next time, Tony, we'll share that with you because it's unbelievable when he couldn't even speak that he could sing. We're totally out of time, but coming up, we are going to continue to cover Hurricane Matthew and other news. Thank you, Tony.
My love to you. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
What's his name again? I want to find him on YouTube.
Christopher Duffley. I'm going to try to save more time in the future because that was totally awkward when I rip through those good news and we can't even.
Oh, honey, it wasn't awkward. Don't do that to yourself.
Okay, I just
no.
Well,
It wasn't awkward at all.
And I really wanted, and Trevino didn't know it, but I wanted the story the song that what made him go viral. We didn't even hear him sing in there. All he did is talk. So
well, let's do it on Monday. But John, if you ever need to move me, it's never going to be a problem. Just so you know that.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Thanks.
Guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
You too.
So we're still live. Okay.
Sure.
Cool. I'm gonna go change the graphics.
I heard.
Ooh. All right. Let's see if there's anything new on Matthew.
My zebra pants on again. Okay. I'm not going to turn it. I'm just moving my heater out of the way because it's cold here in Colorado. It's 30.
We're looking away.
It's 30-some degrees.
It's what?
30-some degrees.
Oh my.
And my yoga ball, I do not want it to melt from the heater, so I'm moving my yoga ball that I spent. Turning my heater back on lowly, not turning towards the camera. Last time. So when I turned around and I bent over like this, they were like, "Oh my gosh. Oh, she's showing her rear.
She's going to be horrified.
She's going to be mortified. Oh my, oh. And then I'm over there, so I don't even hear them oh, why is she doing that?
And then you ask, why are you laughing? No
yeah, then
reason.
I come back and John's giggling and we're going right on air and I'm like, why are you giggling? And then later I look at the tape and as I bend over back there to do something there, my things, can you still see my heater in there? I don't want my heater in there. It's ugly.
It looks nice. It adds a lot.
Hey, I'm just while you guys are chatting, I'm putting in that story about the mall cop.
Okay.
And Trevino, you got the bite?
Yeah. I got it set.
And I just put a bite in for Matthew that we can use at the top.
Okay, and then Chris, will he do the second part of Matthew here?
Yeah, I'm ready to.
Sure.
Okay. And then do we want to do the President Obama issued a state of emergency?
Me? Yeah, absolutely.
No,
yeah,
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, this guy's a dirtbag. Oh, wait, I thought you said you had John at the top. Okay, well, then Chris goes there. Ugh. Okay, you moved it. I thought it said John. Okay, there's John.
Here we go. 5.
Welcome back to Daybreak USA.
Hello, Angie Austin here, along with newsmen Chris Barnes and John DeMaster. Let's get right into it, Chris, talking about Hurricane Matthew, the latest.
Yep. It is right there. The eye of Hurricane Matthew is moving closer to Daytona Beach now. It's reporter Ron Mott who's been there witnessing it as it advances, and he says they're really experiencing some very strong winds now.
We are anticipating getting upwards of 100 mile per hour sustained winds. Those aren't gusts, sustained winds. Once that eye gets a little bit closer to us.
Now, Mott says it already looks to be about 30 to 40 miles off the shoreline. The worst of the storm yet to be seen, and more than 300,000 people are without power in that immediate area. But statewide, they're expecting the outages to actually exceed 2 million before this is over.
All right, John.
Yeah, the storm has weakened, so I guess that's maybe a little bit of good news, but the still strong winds. It's now a Category 3 hurricane, but still has winds of nearly 120 miles an hour. So the National Hurricane Center says the western edge of the hurricane's eye wall, just a couple miles off the coast of Cape Canaveral. So tens of thousands of people currently without power in the Sunshine State. And Florida Power and Light says that could ultimately grow to as many as 2 million people without power. Most of the coast of South Carolina under hurricane warning. The worst of the storm expected to begin tomorrow morning and wind down by Saturday evening.
All right. Shepard Smith on Fox News, we heard earlier, said, not only will you die, your children will die. Like, you need to leave, you will die, which was one of the most bizarre, reporting little sound bites I've ever heard. But President Obama has issued an emergency declaration for Florida, South Carolina, and Georgia as millions brace for the storm. The U.S. military is mobilizing resources for Hurricane Matthew. In Florida, 2,500 National Guard soldiers and airmen have been activated to provide search and rescue and security support. So Hurricane Matthew now has claimed over 300 lives in Haiti. And if you see the pictures there, they don't have anywhere to run and hide. And they also don't have the same kind of construction we have here. So you'll see this cinder block houses with walls with maybe, loosely made roofs. And their homes are just destroyed. It is a mess in Haiti. John?
The other place that it's a mess is Backpage.com. This is an interesting company, an interesting story, and the CEO is now under arrest in Texas. His name is Carl Ferrer, and he was arrested on a warrant out of California and then taken into custody on Thursday after he landed in Houston on a flight from Amsterdam. So Backpage.com is one of the largest advertisers of adult escort services in the United States and has also been accused of allowing escort ads to be posted on the site, which were linked to adult and child sex trafficking victims. Now he's under arrest.
As he should be. All right. I found this story yesterday, and when I watch news stories, sometimes my kids are with me, and my 9-year-old daughter, Hope, saw this story that Chris is going to talk about next, and it involves a mall cop who had a gun on a guy. She goes, Mommy, he only knocked over a cone. He should not have pulled a gun on him. He was wrong. So I just thought even a 9-year-old knew that this was a wacky guard, Chris.
Absolutely, Angie. San Jose's Westfield Valley Fair Mall is where this happened. Apparently, the guy was, driving in the parking lot, knocked over the traffic cone, and all of a sudden, over comes a guy that he refers to as a ninja mall cop, who comes out and points a gun at the guy. And the guy, is a little concerned about why it requires a gun to be pointed at him. And then the guy's supervisor comes out and joins him and threatens the driver who rolled on it. He recorded the incident, and here's a clip of it as they tell him that if he doesn't unlock his door, they're going to take out his window.
Unlock your door, please. Why can't you talk to me right now? Sir, you can unlock your door, or I'm going to take out your window.
So why are you going to take out my window?
So the cops end up showing up, and they determined,
I just want to review. These are mall cops that pulled a gun, held it, pointed at the guy's head. Supervisor comes, threatens to break the window if the guy won't get out of the car. Again, it's the Westfield Valley Fair mall cop. I mean, they're guards.
It's Paul Blart with a gun, absolutely. But the cops turned up, and they pretty quickly determined that the gun-toting guard not only lacked a firearms permit, but even the necessary license to be a security guard in the first place. Now, the DA wouldn't press any charges, so this driver is going to try to sue them all privately to try to get some compensation for that frightening incident.
Unbelievable. You could tell just he was that guy real taken with himself, and he's a control freak, and he was mad the guy wouldn't listen to him. So he pulled a gun on him for knocking over the orange cone, which, by the way, is not a criminal offense in pretty much any state if you accidentally knock over an orange cone.
This is funny, by the way. I just read a little further. The DA wouldn't file charges in the case, citing insufficient evidence. Well, Angie, you've seen the video because I've seen it too because I took the audio from the video. Take a look at that video and tell me there's not sufficient evidence that they did something.
He has that gun on his head, and he's 3 feet away. Hey, this is a bizarre story. On Facebook, this woman, Candace Haynes, she went on to Facebook, and she found a story saying that she'd passed away. And she was a little shocked, and there was a story attached to a picture of herself. Obviously, the site had mistaken Candace, for another woman who had actually died, but they used her picture and her name. So it was pretty bizarre when she came across the story about her own death. And then another weird one, Chris, involves a Bigfoot sighting. Now, you know, my husband's 6'6", and when we go camping, we always do like these funny videos of him running through the woods, and then we tell his family, look, found Bigfoot, and it's, you know, Daddy running through the woods, you know, way in the background behind the trees. But this is in Michigan, and some people believe that this eagle's nest camera that they have spotted a Bigfoot. They have a tree mounted near this state fish hatchery, and it shows the baby eaglets, but in the background, apparently they believe they've seen the, you know, the Yeti monster, Bigfoot.
I think it was your husband.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Do you need me next